Hello, you're listening to No Kids, No Pain. I'm Romina Puma.
And I'm Luca Cupani, and this podcast is about the choice of being child-free.
Each week we will explore the topic of choosing not to have kids.
And we would love to hear from you too.
If you decide to be child-free,
Don't feel guilty, this is the podcast for you.
and if you have kids,
Here's what you're missing out. Hello, welcome to a new episode of No Kids, No Pain, and hello to my co-host, Romina. Hi.
hello Luca, hello, how are you?
I'm good, I'm happy, and I'm ready to introduce, as we do in this new season, another guest for our episode.
Because it's new season, and the different thing in this new season is that we will have guests.
Exactly.
Maybe not all the time, but most of the time.
But most of the time. And today's guest is very special. Let's give a... What would you want to introduce her? Should I do? Shall I do? Will you do?
You introduce her.
Okay.
She's brilliant. I just want to say this, that she's
Is
absolutely brilliant.
Friend, comedian, singer, many more things we will find out today. And welcome to Victoria Howden.
Hello. Thank you. That was a very nice introduction.
Welcome. Thank you for coming on our podcast.
Happy.
I'm so happy to have you here.
Yeah. So I said you're a comedian. You are a singer, but also you are. Is there anything more that you want to?
So yeah, I do musical comedy, basically, and I do some acting, things that don't earn any money, hence me not having any children, because I couldn't afford them. So yeah, that's
so
basically what I do.
So that brings me to the question. If you had a more stable job, would you have kids? Or you...
It's a tricky one because that meant I would have given up on what I always dreamed of doing.
Okay.
And then the children would have been
An obstacle.
not an obstacle. If I hadn't chosen the profession, they would have been because I hadn't gone down the path I wanted to go.
Okay.
So there would have been like a compromise
Okay.
on what I wanted.
But so I'm doing sort of playing the devil's advocate. If you are like an actress that is famous, like many actors in Hollywood, actors, they have kids that we find out mainly when they commit some crime in their teenager years because they grew up basically without parents and without nannies. But so in case you had maybe a regular TV show, so no problem with money, would you be happy to? Yes, are you?
I don't think so. It's never. It's always very clear cut. But somehow when you ask, I'm like, I don't. But I don't think so. I never wanted children growing up. I never wanted children. There's always the times that you feel a bit left out of friends groups because they all have children.
Yeah.
So I feel we as a couple feel a bit left out sometimes. But then I don't know. We make up for it in other things.
Yeah.
So I don't know. So it's always I ask myself whether I wanted them because I would have wanted them, or because I would have been pressured into wanting to fit in.
Yeah, it's kind of like society in a way.
Everyone is
dictates.
doing, so why shouldn't I? And then yes.
Yeah.
And is your partner happy with the choice? Did you discuss about having?
Yeah, so from the beginning I said I don't want children. That was always my thing, that I said I don't want children, and she was always we'll see later down
if
the
you
line.
change your
We'll
mind.
see if you change your mind. And there was a very brief episode where I did change my mind, and I tried getting pregnant, and then I found out that I couldn't have children.
Oh.
So
Did she try on that?
No, so then we said so she should try. And then it never happened. It never came together.
It wasn't meant to be.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably.
Maybe that was you tried, it didn't happen. I was like, so my first gut feeling was the right one, not to have kids.
Yeah, and then I thought to myself, well, all these years I've been telling my body I don't want children. What made you think that it would actually happen?
Yeah.
Your body listened, over the years. And there are people that go through 15, 16 rounds of IVF and all that, and I wasn't prepared to do that. I went crazy the one time I did it. I missed a flight because I was like, my brain was all over. So so in hindsight, I'm glad that it didn't happen. And we actually talked about it yesterday, And because I always have a little bit of guilt around it was my decision, I led this whole thing.
Yeah.
And then I was like crossing the street. I think I was also thinking about like today, and I thought to myself, if she really, 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 really wanted children, but really, 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 really wanted children, she would have told me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, she would have said that's something that I want, and I'm not willing to compromise.
It's a deal
on.
breaker.
Yeah,
like.
but it never that never happened. So
that's
sometimes
good.
it could be also sort of a, but like when my wife, when we started dating, and she thought she couldn't have, then eventually she found out that the problem was solved. But at the beginning I felt happier because so it will be, if she cannot have, I don't even have to make up any excuse. Yeah, exactly, it's her. So I was happy that she was carrying the burden for both of us. So I'm a bit opportunistic, but a little bit. But yeah, we don't. I agree, and it's better to. It's not. I don't see this like something missing. I see it more like having more time to do what you really like.
Absolutely, and then when you look at sometimes you look at couples with kids, they're all like they went on a war or something.
Oh
you
my
know.
God. I was on the bus yesterday, and this woman with a double buggy, so she had twins, got on the bus with I think she must have been a 5-year-old, and the 5-year-old was swinging off the bars of the bus, and she was like, and the mother was, and the baby was screaming at the top of their lungs, and she was feeding the other one, and the bus was going, she almost smashed herself on the floor, and I was like, oh my God, what?
Why?
I can't even.
Yeah.
I would lose my shit. Sorry, I don't know if Spotify bleep me out. I would lose it. I would actually lose it.
Yeah.
I think. But I guess when you're a parent, the other things come up that make you not lose it.
Yeah. But for looking at that, looking at that from the outside, I was like, no, I wouldn't put myself in that situation.
Yeah, I think
why?
If the downsides are big enough for you to consider, I don't want kids, that's the answer you need. Like probably for a parent is. I hope that every parent considers this before. I hope that they are aware of all the downsides. But for me, it was clear from the beginning. It's also about time. I like to think about myself, and with my wife, we like to have time for ourselves. Whatever we do, without feeling compelled to. Oh no, we have to. Because if you have kids, then you have to. Even in London, especially the way you live, the area you live in is based on which school you can send kids to. It's also
some people start going to church because Catholic schools apparently are the best, so they go to church every Sunday so they can enroll their kids in the. I wouldn't. I'm not prepared to do that. I mean, you're already going, so you're a step ahead. But
you go to church?
I go to church, which makes it's hard to explain. The irony, we will discuss this sometimes. You have to tell to a priest, a Catholic one, that you don't want kids, and they will look at you like if you are a weird creature or something. But they don't have kids in the first place, so why? Because that's the point. So we are pushed to have kids by people who chose not to have. So people who are child-free by choice, they blame it on. They put the pressure on God. They say we don't have kids because God called us. Okay, fine, but you still don't have kids when you could. And now I just do the same as you don't want. My wife, we both agree, and then now suddenly we are somehow guilty, and I never get it. But do you have any sort of religious or cultural pressure, like with your family, when you started thinking maybe I don't want kids? Did you feel pressure from parents or?
I've never. My parents always wanted grandchildren, which eventually my sisters gave them.
Good.
So we're sorted in that department. But the pressure was never on. I remember because I said it from a very young age. So and my mother always understood me for not wanting children. I think in a way, like she, like the sliding doors. What would have happened with her if she didn't have children? So the parents have never pressured me. I come from a place that is extremely. I think it's the baby booming country maybe in the world. I come from Israel. So in Israel, according to Jewish law, you're supposed to fill the land with children. So there's a pressure from society to have children.
Oh.
Everybody has children. And if you don't have children, here, people don't ask you. People here are English.
Yes.
People don't... If somebody asks you, that means they're from a different... They're not English.
Yeah.
Or like you'll become really close with that person.
Yeah.
But in Israel, everybody's in your business. So everybody's like, but you have to have children. But no, you don't. But trust me, like you have to. They're the only source of joy. You have to have children. And I think that if we were still in Israel, we might have been pressured into having children.
Yeah.
I mean, because we're two women, it can't just happen. But there they give out IVF like sweets in a candy store.
Really?
Yeah, it's all free. You can all have it done. Like here, it's really expensive.
Yeah.
But it's given to you.
Oh wow!
Just so
you
have children.
Yeah.
Just so you have children.
That makes you feel a little bit like how do you say not animal, but like when you have a farming animal, you want them to reproduce. Like
breed. And
breed,
there's also a political I'm not a political person, and I won't get into it. But there's also a political. They want it to be a bigger population of Jewish people.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of pressure in society there to have children. You see buggies everywhere, and it's the most unfriendly place. Like Tel Aviv is the most unfriendly place for buggies.
Really?
Buggies everywhere.
A bad wheelchair as well then. Never got to Israel.
No, never.
No.
Like not Tel Aviv. Oh my God, no.
No. Okay.
No.
Noted.
Write that down.
There's something similar in Italy also, because I without it being too political, but I noticed that in Italy, politicians who cry about they say the cradles are empty, so they want people to. But then there are people that are actively pushing away migrants with babies. So it's not that they're empty; they're not of the right.
They want the Italian
exactly.
babies.
Because I keep thinking we are more than 8 billion, so clearly someone is doing making babies. Because when I was little, there were 5 billion. Now there are 8 billion, and they didn't help. So they found a way. So it's not. It's all a lot about identity. Like they want kids like you, and I understand. But if you, I might understand the reason. But honestly, I don't like the idea that we have to do something. That we have to breed, that we have to do, and especially if we are suffering this cycle of if you are not being maybe overly happy as a kid, or if your parents have been too stressed out by being parents, why do you have to take on the same burden just because that's what they did?
You it's know what is coming, having and also I don't know if it's, for you it's the same, but the thing that kind of scares me the most is when you have a kid, you never know what you're gonna get. Maybe I don't know, you end up with someone that you don't really like.
I think
someone will try to harm you. I mean, I have a nephew with special needs, and that is very consuming. As wonderful and as a blessing as he is, it's very consuming. Like my sister's life is
around that,
and it's very. I don't know what would have become of her, otherwise. I always feel a bit guilty because he's really a wonderful child, but I think the biggest fear is to be left alone of people, to be left alone when they're older. And that's what I always kiss my wife Julie. Like she walks, and we have a balcony, so she walks to the bus stop, and I wave and I kiss, and she gestures because people are in the street. She don't want to look crazy, so she kind of does little moves. But I feel like I have to, because the fear of losing her because we don't have children is greater.
Yes.
But on the other hand, even if you have kids, not necessarily they will be with you all the way.
Yes, that's the point.
So that's why you never know what you're gonna get. It's a bit like the chocolate box for Forrest Gump. You never know what you're gonna get.
Exactly. There's no guarantee.
No.
I understand. Like with my wife, the biggest fear is that one of us leaves the planet and the other doesn't.
That's like massive fear.
When we are on a flight together, we don't care about turbulence because at least we are.
Together.
As long we manage to die together.
That's why I always say.
Don't dare to survive. So we shouldn't tell this out loud to other passengers that might scare them.
Other passengers.
We don't care if we crash. We are together. That's not exactly a good positive message. But it's also true that we could have kids and still die completely alone, because I know that a lot of people that you should go and visit your grandma, and they don't, and sometimes they're right not to, because maybe they had another life. I remember when I was a kid. Oh, you have to go and meet this, and these were old people we never really had a interaction with. I didn't know what to do. Okay, and now doesn't even recognize me. What should I do? I don't know. And it smells funny. And you see these weird people. And this was she loved you when you were a toddler. I don't even remember. She clearly doesn't remember me.
But I also wanted to ask, you were saying that here in the UK they don't really ask you this kind of questions. No. But have you ever been asked, when are you going to have kids? Or why don't you have kids? Do you ever...
Yeah, my niece asked me. She was 8 at the time.
Oh, wow.
She's only 9 now, so she was so not long ago. And she always asks me. She'll say like, "Why did you marry a woman?" Like she can't understand like the concept of.
You clearly didn't read the rule of the game.
Yeah, exactly. So to her, it's like, and then the following question is, "And why don't you have children?" And I looked at her and I said, "Because I didn't want any." That was the first thing that came out.
Was it a good answer for her, or?
I think so. I think I think she's a bit, because of her idea of the world is still from a child's perspective. You have a mummy and a daddy, and you have sisters and brothers, and you have children and that. So to her, living a different and she's in Israel, living a different life is different. And I think there was a lot of curiosity. There's a lot of curiosity around me because I'm different.
Yeah.
And we were sitting on a log when she was about 5. We were sitting on a log. And so it was her and I and her mother, my sister, who's young, my little sister. She came to sit with us, and my niece said, "No, this is only for the children." So to me, she was like, because I didn't have children. I was her friend. I was the child like her. When she was 5. Yeah. So so I answered honestly. I think I always, if anybody asks me, I will answer honestly. And say the real reason. I'm like, no, it didn't work out. No. It was a decision.
Which is a good statement of freedom.
Yeah,
and I think
completely. Absolutely.
Because I've seen people, we said before, maybe in an Italian episode, I said that sometimes in Italy people tell you, "Oh, you will see when it's your turn." Like if you are skipping a fundamental step on your journey, that is like you're born, you go to school, university, driving license, getting married, or finding.
So it's kind of saying, when is your calling.
Then you become
a bit like when you become a priest, that you have a calling. But I didn't get the calling. So
I don't get the call. I was out of reception.
I was in the toilet.
And there isn't compulsory, but some people, I think,
went for a piss. Don't look at me.
I think some people don't realize they could say no. They could resist a little more to the pressure, and now they find themselves into a family that from outside is what exactly they were supposed to do, but they're not happy. And seeing us skipping things might be confusing for them. And that was very.
That was an interesting one.
It was quick. Time flies when you don't have kids.
Looking at that thinking, no.
Well, that brings us to the end. I want to really, really thank you, Victoria, for coming.
Thank you, Victoria.
Yeah.
And so
where can we see you? Do you want to do your promo? Or
just listen for me on social media. Victoria Howden, Howden.
There you go. And go and see her because she is absolutely brilliant.
Thank you.
I love her.
Too. And you can write to us on nokidsnopain@gmail.com
or on social media, No Kids No Pain.
Thank you for listening to us. And
see you next time.
Yes.
Bye.